Welcome to our first ever Common Europe talk. My name's Andrey and I'm with Ann-Kathrin. Hi, Ann-Kathrin.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Andrey. Nice to have you here.
Nice to have you here too. So this is our new ever platform. We're starting first time in our live Common Talk, and this should be our platform for discussion on the most hot topics around IBM Power. So, and
Great.
today's topic is IBM I modernization. So let's talk about IBM I modernization. What is this? What do we need? Why do we need it? Do we need it at all? So, and
Very interesting question. And I think you already prepared something for us, Andrey.
yes, I did my best to find the information. So, and I don't know where I found it, but I love it. So, do you know what is the most modern operating system in the world? So it is IBM I. Why should we modernize it at all? So but we are still celebrating 35 years of IBM I this year. And half a year ago, Juan-Manuel Alcudia, very well known as president of Common Europe, wrote a blog about it, about IBM I modernization. And he wrote that we have a lot of technical debt in IBM I, and some of developers don't like to use new things like SQL. SQL is for me something very, very old, not such new. And he proposed a solution for it. So let's ask Juan-Manuel and our guests in the studio what is supposed to do and why it is so. Let's welcome our guests. And the first is Juan-Manuel. Hi, Juan-Manuel, President of Common Europe.
Hi.
there.
First of all, I want to thank you for making this possible. Because I think it's a very, very nice thing for doing for Common Europe. And I want to thank you and of course Ann-Kathrin for helping us with all these new series.
So, Ann-Kathrin, do you want to present the next?
Sure. Also very known, especially in the German common section, is our president, Heidi Schmidt. Heidi, nice to have you here.
Hi, Andrey. Hi, Ann-Kathrin. Hi, Juan. Nice to meet you here, and thanks for the invitation.
So, and we have also a long veteran of the stage, Åke Olsson from Common Sweden, who have more than 40 years experience with IBM mid-range systems. Hi, Åke.
Hello there. Good to be with you. Yeah, I've some experience of both the old and the new, I would say.
That makes our discussion even more interesting. So, Juan-Manuel, because you wrote the blog, the first question goes to you. So what was the reason for it? Why do you see it so?
Yeah, well, the operating system has this system has one advantage that we can run the old programs that were created 40 years before. So it is good because the companies can take the advantage of don't need to think about changing code every time IBM release a new version. But that comes with a price that sometimes we have very, very old code that is for the business seems to not be the things that the business needs. And that is a problem because sometimes in some companies, they see the platform like so old. And it's not because the platform is old, it's because we are using it like 30 years ago. So that is a main problem. And some of the old things also have problems with security. If you run old code like System36 code, even if that is not support anymore, but you can do it, you open like a big hole of security in our system. So my proposal was, I know there are some customers and that wants to use the very old things, and that they just prevent IBM for removing it. But my proposal was, why don't we have two versions? One that is retro-compatible with all the old stuff, and another one that only have the new things and is more secure, and probably we can grow more on that. And that is not only for maintaining customers, but to grow the IBMI world, because I think we are the few companies that are making new customers for IBMI today, because they only see that we just write great applications and that are up to date, that they can compete with the new application made in cloud, and but they are less complex and probably cheaper than do the new cloud-based applications.
Do I understand you correctly? You propose to create two IBM I streams. So one with all the modern features and now one with all legacy features of complete.
So the thing will be to create a new version that will have the new things and maintain like a freeze version for customers that don't have time to modernize or just want to keep with the old stuff. So that will be one of the solutions. I know that it's not perfect, but if we want to get rid of the old stuff, I don't see any other options.
Do we want to get rid of old stuff? Okay, what do you think about it?
Well, we have to think back in time, really. When the AS400 arrived, a lot of rather small companies started using the system because a lot of software packages were widely available. And if you think of a company that has a yearly turnover like, say, 3 million euros, they don't have the availability to invest in a total new software, total new environment, all the new stuff. But they're pretty happy with what they have most of the time. So unless we would just want to shove these users away, I think it's a good way to allow them to progress at a pace that they feel comfortable with emotionally and financially.
Heidi, maybe a question for you. As you also work a lot of with IBM modernization in your daily business, what do you think? Would it help customers if IBM drops off the support for legacy systems and force them to go to the modern world?
Yeah, it was a really surprising option that Juan presented here. So if I think about it, I'm a little bit skeptical, to be honest, because for me, applications that are already running 30 years and are using techniques or program languages which are available since 10 or 20 years are not per se bad, because they include or they consist a lot of specialities of these companies. Especially, I think and I think maybe we need to differentiate, Juan, between ISVs and teams that develop software for other people or several companies, which we have still on the AS400 or on the IBM I platform. And maybe for this ISV market, your approach could be interesting, because then the thing really gets this new flavor. But I would expect, as I work a lot with customers or end customers of the platform who have developed home-based applications, ERP systems and so on, and I think for them, it would be maybe a little bit too radical, this approach, because I think they need to understand that these existing applications really are some kind of the DNA of the company, which is worth to modernize. And also, I think it's very important to differentiate what's really old, maybe Cyclus is really old, maybe RPG2 is really old, that we must get rid of because it's very difficult for young people or young developers to understand. Yeah, and then the software gets lose quality more and more day by day. So I think, strange or interesting approach, but I think we may need to differentiate. What do you think, Juan?
So that is a very important thing to see what things will get rid of or not. Because, for example, there are things like the System36 environment that are a danger to the machine. Because once you have installed System36 environments, it's so easy to hack the machine. Not by external hackers, but even one employee that is mad at the company can do really bad things if it is installed, because you can just bypass all the security. So those are the things that probably we should think on decommits on the operating system. Also, probably not the way that all programs will not work, but probably we should think if we want the old compilers available, or just to say, okay, you can run the old things, but if you want to develop new things, you need to compile it with the new compilers. So those are the things, because the problem I see, and I think IBM also see it, is that every time IBM just sent a new version to the market, they need to test all the old stuff to see if it works. So I think that they are losing a lot of time just checking things, really old things, like, for example, the fax support. Who uses the fax support anymore? And
Germany,
the problem,
unfortunately.
but the thing is that the new machines even don't have support for the hardware to do the fax. So it's if they are losing the time on testing all these old things, they don't have time to do new things that maybe are more useful for the current customers. Because it's not about modernizing because I want to use the new things. It's modernizing to give the business what they need, and make the platform more secure, and to make it more attractive. Because as you already said, to bring new developers to the platform is okay if we are using the LATS RPG, but probably if they need to check for some 36 code, they will leave the company in 1 week.
I understand better now, Juan. Thank you for your explanation. But then maybe it would be also an option not really to split two versions, and have then again a lot of parallel investment. But maybe it would be a good idea for the IBM I product managers to think about what features, and for example, S36 is one of them, really needs now to be cancelled, so that really the customers are a little bit forced to modernize their really old technology in the market. Because I fully agree. I fully agree that this is a hurdle for young people to get familiar with the platform if they are stepping into an environment where these things are still running.
I've got a question from Torbjörn regarding System36, and he's asking, would it be alternative if IBM starts charging System36 as additional feature?
It will be weird because
change the attitude. But we have to remember one thing about what I've seen of companies still running the 36 environment is that the code base that for the objects that you're actually using hasn't normally been changed like in 15, 20 years. They're still running the things as is. So they feel no inclination to change anything. But what they want to do is possibly to add new functionality in some features, sort of connect new pieces to the old data they have, things like that. And as far as that would just be another operating cost if they add more charge more for the 36 environment, because this stuff isn't going to be changed. And when there is a major change for anything, that's when they feel, okay, we can pay to rewrite it, but they don't want to pay much to continue as is. And this is and the companies using this environment, they are probably more normally in the lower scale financially of IBM customers.
Yeah, but for that, it's not maybe Heidi to do two parallel versions, but to say, okay, 7.5 or 7.6 will be the last one to support this, and just make this version to last a little bit longer on the support, instead of being 6 years to be maybe 10 years. So they will say, okay, you have 10 years to figure out what you are going to do with your code.
Yeah, I absolutely would agree. And this is what other big vendors like Software AG also are doing, that they are stabilizing some features or some versions, and they, okay, we will not develop it further on. You will have to pay a little bit higher maintenance costs for using it, and we strongly recommend and also support you to bring these things to a newer technology level. I understand Åke's issue that then maybe some customers will go away from the platform because they say, okay, if I can not run it as it is, I need to redevelop it. Maybe I have the chance to have a choice or to choose the platform. But I think this would then be our approach, or our need to convince them that IBM I is really a good platform. So preventing them in some kind like a KEFIC.
Okay.
Isn't not
a cage, yeah.
It's not only the 36 stuff that is really, really old on the platform. I mean, a lot of the applications that came around in like 1990s with the RPG version that was available at that time, not much different from the 36 version really. They are still around as well. Most of these are unchanged, but they are sort of native mode, but really, really old. They are as much of a vulnerability as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes what Juan-Manuel says, it makes security problems for the customers. How do they address them if they don't modernize?
Yeah, it's sometimes, especially if you have installed the System 36, you have a huge problem, because everybody can hack the machine in just 5 minutes. You just need to run a script from the System 36, and it doesn't have security. So you can become the administrator of the machine in 5 minutes. So that is a huge problem. Another problem is that,
but I think this is mainly also a huge problem for IBM then, because if I would be a customer and my technology provider is offering such a technology, maybe I will go back to him and say, okay, why did you provide me such a dangerous feature? Could also be a risk for IBM if they are thinking.
But I don't think. Do you think you can charge IBM for this?
I don't know.
No, I think IBM will just not permit to install it in next versions, because it's not supported anymore. So if you install it, it's at your own risk. But I think it will be even better just to say you're not able to install it.
Absolutely.
And probably just dismiss the APIs that can make it possible to run. Because I think it's in this world that the security is, I think, the top priority, because we know that, especially with all the problems in the world, now the cyber security is so important, because some countries are attacking other countries just with this. To have a secure environment is so important. And the problem that many customers that I call maybe ghost customers, they are not paying software subscription anymore. They are not applying PTFs. They are on old versions. And the problem with that is that it will appear that the platform is insecure, because because they are not current with the security patches and everything. So that is also an important thing to address.
But do we have here a problem with modernization, or do we have here a more complex problem? So administration with so applying patches to the operating systems. It's something like a normal IBM administrator should do on, I don't know, quarterly basis at least.
Yeah. That is a problem that is about everything, because we have we need to keep also the machines up to date. But I think there are more machines up to date than applications up to date. I mean, many people has the systems on the last versions, but they use it like 30 years ago, so they are not using all the things that the machine can do for them. And the problem is that if you talk to some guys from companies, they think that this machine cannot give them what they need, because it's an old system. And that is the problem about modernization, to be able to give the business what they need. And I think that is the thing that, because it's the only way to sell a modernization project. If you talk to the business, if you do it just for the technology, probably nobody will buy the modernization project, because as Åke said, the application is working, okay? But if you want to give the business new things, for example, in analytics, in AI, or even just to give a better interface for the new users, because it's not only about the developers that runs into the green screen, but also the people that are working on the company, and they see a green screen when they enter the company, and they don't understand what is that. I think even Alison was talking about her daughter going to work in a company that has AS400 with green screen, and she was scared of that. So,
but sorry, for me, what I'm here from you, Juan-Manuel, is you're speaking about adding new features like analytics, AI, but not dropping the old features now. So even modernization is adding features which customers require and not dropping of the old features.
Yes. I think it's a little bit, I think for sure you need to drop a little bit old features, because I fully agree with Juan. If we are never cut old technology, this is also a danger for the platform, and maybe sometimes a danger for the customer if they are, for example, these security issues with the S36 code. So I think it's good to have a high quality backward compatibility, which IBM was always very strong in. But at some point in time, you also have, if you have a platform that's now more than 35 years old, you must really tell the customer, this is old feature stuff, we need to stop this, because it also will prevent you to use new things. Yeah, so I think you must be thinking about what you are cutting off. But I think if we are talking about such a long retaining product, it makes sense to think about what's time now to get rid of, and also by doing this, address the most critical issues for a lot of customers, to be able to hire new people and find young people who are enthusiastic about developing these very worse and high quality applications for the customer in the next decade.
I think we are missing out on one thing, because the people we need to convince are not the people that are interested at all in technology. I think we have to find a way to tell the people that hold the purse strings that they are running a high financial risk by not keeping the applications and the stuff up to date. Mm-hmm. It's like you save a bit of money by not bending the roof of your house, but eventually it will going to be rotten. So the CFOs of the world, they don't care about technology, about modernization and stuff. They care about the potential financial risk of the operation going into standstill later on, because they have issues with the application, they cannot attract people to maintain it and so forth. And I think that may be the engine to drive modernization. I personally don't like the word modernization, because then you tend to think that, okay, I've done these things and now I am modern, so I can stay modern for quite a while. But it has to be a sort of continuous thing. You can be modern for 3 months, not longer.
I think everyone is agreeing.
The concept of the risk for the business.
I totally like this aspect, and always telling our customers also that modernization is nothing you do this year and then stop it again. We must, and I think this is a big change in software engineering during the last few years, and will be even more in the upcoming years, that we must learn to understand that software is there very much longer than we expected in the past, and that we must build up skill, and our young people need to build up skill how to bring this modernization as an ongoing task in our software lifecycle, and understand that's important to document software, because this is a foundation that young people have a chance to step into. We must on a regular basis redevelop things that are maybe out of order or out of architecture, because it was a very stressy project, and they need to do a lot of things not in a good way, and so on. And this is also something for sure that needs a switch in the management, that we must rethink how we are looking at software development teams, and that it's necessary, because in the future we will have less people than ever who are able to develop applications. So it's clear that we must learn to reuse existing software assets. Means that we need to understand them, means that we have the right skills to maybe put them together with new stuff, make more out of them. Yeah, this will be, I think, a key functionality, because otherwise we all need to move to SAP or other standard software, which will not fit for all our processes. Yeah.
I've read just yesterday an article in some German newspaper about IBM iShop moving to SAP, but I don't want to speak about it. So I have some devil question for you. Could cloud be an answer to modernization?
And I usually try to tell people that if it isn't broke, that is the time to fix it. Because if something isn't working any longer, how could you know what result it's going to provide? If you got something that is written in a really awkward way, but you know what the end result is, then you can recreate it. So that is the time. So don't wait until it's broken.
Yeah.
Pretty good point. Yeah.
Yeah, I think cloud is not the answer to everything, because I see that many companies go to IBM customers and they say, I'm going to modernize your IBM. When they are really saying is, I'm going to replace your IBM for a cloud native application. That sometimes is so complex because as Åke said, we have a lot of IBM customers that are really small, and just to move to a cloud native will be so complex for them, because this machine, what it has is that easy to maintain and easy to develop in. So, and when we are talking about native cloud applications, it's really more complex. But it's true that now we can have like an LPAR in cloud just to develop new things or to try new things. Even if we are in an old version, we can just say, okay, I hire for a while an LPAR, try to move it to 7.5 and try to see if it works. And once I finish testing, I just turn off the machine. So it's a nice options that we have now. But we can also mix the native applications with some things in the cloud, because we can just connect to the cloud to receive things from web services, put our services, our business logic on cloud via REST services. And I think cloud is a very, very interesting tool. I don't think it's the replacement for everything, but you can do really nice things if you take the best of both worlds.
Heidi, as you are going to host a very interesting roundtable at the executive hours in the forms of the Power Congress in November, which is also about cloud on IBM I. What is your thought on what is IBM I modernization in the context of cloud, and can this be the solution?
Yeah, thank you. For sure, I'm running this roundtable because it's a very interesting topic today, I think, or currently. And I also see that there is a lot of confusion in the market about what is cloud at all. Customers are mixing up private and public cloud. IBM is offering Power Virtual Server. IBM business partners are fighting against it because they are offering their private clouds in several years. And customers are not really currently able to differentiate between these different vendors. For example, I learned again a few days ago that, for example, Google is also offering native Power I systems in their Google stack under their umbrella. So maybe I also see that it has nothing really to do with application modernization to move your existing IBM I into the cloud. I think this is easy to understand, but maybe it's important even on a top management level to understand that for sure IBM I is also working in the cloud. So if a customer or manager wants to have a label, we are running our core critical systems in the cloud, this is not a showstopper at all. But you need to understand that there are different flavors of cloud, and you must to understand what are the differences and what is the best fitting cloud platform or way into the cloud for your company and your strategy. But this has nothing to do with application modernization. And as we said before, modernization on IBM I is typically not really an issue of that customers are not running modern hardware. This is, I think, nearly a lot of customers are running modern hardware models or Power 9 or 10 already, or 8 for at least. The issue is that we have these old applications that know, and the problem is not that they are old. The problem is that the code is not documented, and that at some customers nobody is really understanding what's going on there. So it's not. I also think it's not mainly an issue of programming language. Yeah, the issue is that customers do not know what their processes are. We see a lot of customers who really run in problems when they decided either to go to SAP or develop everything new, that no one in the company have an idea about the process at all, because it's only in the code. Yeah, and this is really a problem. And this is not a problem of RPG or COBOL. It's a problem of knowledge management. Yeah, which I see will also be a big area. In my company, we are working a lot to build up skill, how we can redocument existing applications, how we can set up processes that for further development, documentation is done simultaneous while coding. Yeah, because otherwise, I think for young people, it will not be possible to understand the complexity in the business.
Yeah.
Okay, you were shaking your head when Heidi was mentioning how things are done. What was your thought?
Well, I think mainly oftentimes the business doesn't understand the business either. I see cases where programs are run like in the payroll process. And there's a program that's pretty long, that does stuff in a pretty convoluted way. Nobody knows what it does any longer. There are no comments or documentation anywhere, but for some reason it has to run. Nobody knows why. And that is a pretty difficult thing to carry forward. I mean, there's lots of stuff like that that makes things rather complex.
Yeah. Even processors that run each night and nobody knows if they should run or not, because it's just been running every night for 20 years. 2 years or 3 years ago, I found with the customers that they were just running a process that was so heavy, and was to send a report for a guy that was out of the company 10 years ago, and nobody was reading that report anymore. So that is some of the things you say that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think it's just a software development or IT development at all. So we all started many years ago with small systems or with smaller systems, with smaller staff. We had fewer developers, and they knew each other. They don't have to document everything. They just knew how to do the things. Now at some point, they just left the shops and the companies. And now we have magic boxes.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the key things here is that the application that were made 30 or 40 years ago, sometimes were made by people that didn't know any clue about IT. They just learned with the guys that were there. So there were no methodology at all, because I remember my old bosses when I was starting that they used to do things in a way that I was looking and I say, well, this is so difficult to program this way, because, and they say, no, don't say anything because it's the way we always did it. And sometimes because the new things are done by people that has been like they have some studies on IT, but some of the old cases, the people that did the applications, they did the best efforts, but sometimes they didn't have a good idea on what was normalized DBE or whatever, and things are like they are. For the time, the applications did what they needed, and they were okay. But sometimes these applications, as the data grow, are not currently valid, because they are reading a lot of stuff that they don't have to read, and probably 20 years ago it wasn't a problem, but now we have huge quantity of data, and if you read more than is needed, then it's a problem. Even that is validated because the machines are so much faster and the disks are so much faster, and we have more memory, but still is sometimes the processes are not very good in terms of performance.
So now there's a question from the audience, which comes right out of my head, I thought when I read it. So Torbjörn asked if maybe AI could be a help in understanding business logic in old RPG and COBOL programs, like, for example, Watson X, code assistance for Z and mainframe. So what do you think? Is AI an upcoming topic for legacy and modernization?
I
Maybe,
see.
yeah.
For sure, there is a chance that AI can be helpful to understand what's in there. But I'm a little bit afraid of that we are now waiting or think, okay, in 1 or 2 years, this AI in the future will solve all our documentation issues, and not starting now. So I really would recommend to start now and do the things we need to do, instead of wait for just a wonder in 1 year or so. This could be a little bit difficult, I think. And I think currently, we talked about this with IBM Labs in Haifa a lot of time this year. There are some chances that this will really help us, but there's still a lot thing to do in development for using it really.
Other thoughts? Okay.
So, yeah, time is going on, and unfortunately, we are already near the end of our streamcast live stream. So, just some final thoughts. Should we use the word modernization for this complex topic? Should we drop some features, or should we add features into IBM I?
Well, no matter what features you have, the important thing is to be able to communicate with the management to allow us to drive the modernization or the efforts to reduce technology debt, because the initiative has to come from the top. It is impossible to have this driven from the technology side. So we have to be able to communicate that with the management a lot better. And I think that's my take on this.
Yeah, I totally.
I always keep looking for new SQL services and stuff like that. You just keep it coming, but it has to make some sense for the users and for the decision makers in the company, in the organizations.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that the modernization should be business oriented. So we need to say we are going to give more to the business. We are going to solve their needs, even that is a new interface because they want more graphics to see the data or whatever, or just new things that we can do with more modern code. But we should be smart, and when we do this business related things, we should put some budget in just delete the old things that can be dangerous in terms of security, or just make it to run faster with new techniques that will increase the performance. So I think we should do it business oriented, but just put some budget in the project to remove some of the old technical debt. Heidi?
I fully would agree that the word modernization is some kind of misleading, and I would recommend that we really think about that old must not be really old. Old could also be good. Cars are also over 100 years old, and I still like them. So I think, yeah, it must be, we must come away from these modern is good and old is bad. I would recommend to use other words also. Yeah, maybe it's more like transformation or things like that. Yeah, and not modernization.
Yeah.
Because modernization always comes up with this flavor of something is old. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as I said before, old maybe is also on value, which is not only bad.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we have to give it the name up-to-dateization or something like that.
Yeah. For example. Freshies, maybe. I don't know.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, I hand over to you.
Yep. Thank you very much for joining us. So just some, I think we had the best guests. So thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Juan-Manuel. Thank you, Åke. It was a very interesting discussion, at least for me. So I learned a lot and from different views, and that's what I took over. So even if we have different views in the beginning, so we are all together, we have similar problems all over Europe, and yeah, so and we have similar solutions for the problems. So, and I want to point to our attendance that we will have several more events in the next future. So I see we will have Common Sweden Autumn Conference on October 29th. We will have Power Days by Common Denmark on the 1st of November. We will have Benelux Power 2023 by Common Belgium and Common Netherlands. On 6th November, we'll have Power, I don't know how to pronounce it. How do you pronounce it, Heidi? Power by Common Germany.
Power, yes. It's just
because
power,
it is free.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a 3 because we are 3 parties that are organizing it. Common Europe, ITP, and IBM. Okay, so on November 13th, 14th, and 15th, and we will have IUG conference in the UK on November 23. It's all the places where you can learn more about IBM Power. On some of the places you can meet our speakers and guests and talk to them and ask them questions live, what they think about it. Thank you, all of you.
Andrey, and Common Iberia in 16 and 17 of November.
I forgot about it, didn't I? Wrote it. Oh, sorry. Manuel, yes,
So,
Common Iberia. So.
More than one chance to get informed about the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Bye.
And see you.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody, for joining.